What if I told you 20 sentences could change your life? I'm going to try to do that today. And if you can get to the end of this video, I promise you it will be worth it. So the first sentence is by Marcus Aurelius. He says, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." I love this because he's essentially talking about what you can control and what you can't control. Control your response instead. So sometimes we get so flustered and so obsessed with controlling what we can't do, we don't realize that our emotions are getting the best of us. So that's number one. Number two, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. This was said by Seneca. This is one of my favorite quotes, and it's so true. We tend to catastrophize, worry about what's happening, worry about what's potentially going to happen instead of living in the now. And especially with people who catastrophize or get anxiety, who fear work or meetings or colleagues or whatever it may be, you get into this kind of really dark rabbit hole where you start thinking, okay, this is going to happen, then this is going to happen, then this is going to happen. Next thing you know, I lose my job. And then next thing you know, I'm in prison. And it's just like, what are you doing? Stop, get out of your head. And that's why they say to athletes, get out of your head, because that's what it literally means. Get out of your head and live in the now. The third is no person has the power to have everything they want, but it is in their power not to want what they don't have. And this again was Seneca. So this is about stopping this chase for impossible standards. We sometimes get obsessed with comparing ourselves to other people, what they've got, what we haven't got. And we often do this in work as well, where we compare our weaknesses to their strengths. So you want to try to stop that. You already have enough, and what will come to you will come to you. Number 4, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. This was said by Marcus Aurelius. And the idea here is our interpretation of things is what is affecting us, not necessarily the thing itself. So for example, you get an email from a colleague and you think that tone is really bad, therefore they must be annoyed with me, therefore I probably need to go make up with them. And it's like, well, no. And there is a saying, assuming makes an ass out of you and me. And I think it's kind of true in this scenario, where we sometimes overestimate a certain person's reaction. And we have to remember that we are the main characters in our story, but in other people's story, they're the main characters, and they're probably not even thinking that much of it. And so sometimes we just need to let it be. If we see something and it looks a bit caustic or didactic, or you think, oh, that person's being a bit unkind, just let it be. Move on. Next. Carry on. The next is number 5. Waste no more time arguing what a good person should be one. And this one is really something that I feel like in 2026 is something we need to embody. So stop waiting for permission to lead. Start demonstrating value today. Start being the person you want to be today. And that all it takes is that first step, that one little win in that day. It could be many things. It could be a bit more patient at work, be patient at home, patient with your family. You know, ask yourself when you find yourself in moments where you want to be one way and you're not, or maybe you get a bit frustrated and you don't want to be that frustrated person, or you don't want to worry as much. What would it be if I did do that? What would be the scenario if I did do that? What would I say to myself if I did do that? It's hard to do, and obviously it might sound like I'm being airy-fairy here, but if you find yourself in a situation where you're stressed, ask yourself, do I want to put more fuel on the fire, or do I want to put water on the fire? And to put water on the fire, you need to step away, and you need to be kind to yourself, and you need to recognize, okay, I need to go this way, not that way. Number 6, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This is Marcus Aurelius. And this is essentially about that difficult project you're avoiding. It's your fastest route to credibility, but you're avoiding it. And this is about just starting, just going. I find this a lot with people. They talk to me and they tell me about, they wake up, they scroll through their phone. So, well, what's the problem straight away in there? Well, I go through my phone. Okay, put your phone downstairs. Oh no, I can't do that. What if someone messages me? What, are you going to wake up in the middle of the night and respond to them? No, just put it downstairs, see what changes. If you just take action immediately without thinking about the consequences or the reactions because your brain will start saying, no, don't do that. That's a bad idea. Okay, let me try and see what the reaction is. Don't go off assumption, go off reality. Number 7, it's not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult. This is Seneca who said this. So this is more about you're capable of more than you think. The difficulty exists in your hesitation. And in one of my videos, I talk about the unknown unknowns. And this is essentially about this idea that you don't know what you don't know, but you know what you don't know. And so there's a difference between the two. And one is that you obviously know that you're not an astronaut, maybe, or maybe you are, or you're not a professional athlete, but then you don't know what you're capable of. You don't know what the potential is because you haven't experienced it, you haven't tried it. Or if you have tried it, that becomes your known unknown. But the reality is there's a part of us that unless we try, we won't know. And therefore, why would you dare say, no, I can't do that, or that's not a good idea until you've tried it? So the premise of this is try. Number 8, he who fears death will never do anything worth of a living person. This is also said by Seneca. My translation of this is, if you fear failure, you'll never do anything worth remembering. And I don't think everybody's cut out to, conquer the world. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there are things that you want to do, and unless you try, unless you go forward, unless you remove that anxiety and say, well, I'm going to focus on the now, I'm not going to focus on the what if, then you're going to remember it for yourself. Forget everybody else. Forget the fact that I just said you'll never do anything worth remembering. That's more about you, not other people remembering. I always say that, what if is the door to the devil. Now, what if is a good saying to kind of think about scenarios and situations, but sometimes what if is really negative for us when we're looking at ourselves and looking at our anxieties and what if this happens and what if that happens. So what I say door to the devil is because, you dance with the devil, and then you start thinking about all the bad scenarios and it becomes very negative. Number 9, the cucumber is bitter, then throw it out. There are brambles in the path, then go around. That's all you need to know. And this was by Marcus Aurelius. And this is interesting because it's such a simple thing, but it's like, if there's a toxic colleague or a toxic family member or a difficult stakeholder, it's really simple. All you have to do is navigate around them or remove yourself completely. And you'll be surprised how easy it is to remove yourself. And removing yourself, if you're physically there, remove yourself mentally. Someone says something inappropriate, okay, don't acknowledge it. We say this to kids. If there's a bully there trying to bully you, don't acknowledge them, and eventually they'll go away. Now, some of you will say, if the bully bullies you, you bully them back. I'm not sure about that advice, but you navigate around them to avoid them blocking you. So the cucumber is bitter, then throw it out. There are brambles in the path, then go around. Number 10. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. This is really powerful. This was also done, said by Marcus Aurelius. And it's essentially this deadline, this conflict, this presentation. None of it matters as much as you think of it, as much as you think it does, because in the end, your life is finite anyway. Confucius said this many years before the Stoics. He said, man has two lives. The second begins when man has two lives. The second begins when he realizes he only has one. And, we sometimes get into the rat race and completely forget that we're living this life that is finite, and there are people that die at a very young age, not just old. We're not guaranteed to get old. So why are we stressing ourselves about certain things that in 5 years, 10 years times we won't care about? Number 11. Today I escaped anxiety. Or no, I discarded it because it was within me, in my own perceptions, not outside. Again, Marcus Aurelius. So what he's essentially saying here is your calm is an internal decision, not dependent on external circumstances. And it's very difficult. You kind of look at this and say, well, that's easy to say when you're in a calm situation, but I'm in my cortisol levels are extremely high. I'm stressed. How do I calm myself down? And that's where you go to meditation. That's where you go to potential medication, or you taking yourself out of the situation. But beyond that, if you're sitting there or sleeping at night and you're just thinking about these things, you have to ask yourself or kind of convince yourself, these are my perceptions, so I can control them. They're not outside. It's not someone's attacking you. It's not someone's punching you in the face. The house isn't on fire. This is just in here. So this is the muscle I can control. There's no civil wars going on in my brain. How do I control them? And that's where you start really questioning the negative thoughts and saying, well, why am I thinking negatively? No, I'm not going to do that. Sorry, I'm not playing this game today. Number 12, the mind that is free from passions is a citadel. This again, Marcus Aurelius. So what he's essentially saying here is emotional reactions make you vulnerable. Rational responses make you untouchable. And I think I agree and disagree with this, because we're allowed to be emotional. We're, as I said earlier, we're finite. We're not an infinite being. We don't last forever. So we have to make mistakes. And sometimes that emotion helps us make mistakes. But we also see it as an attempt or a try. So if the mind that is free from passions is a citadel, emotional reactions make you vulnerable, rational responses make you untouchable. What I would say there is, just understanding that rational responses make you untouchable is an anecdote in itself to say, okay, if I ever want to go down a route where I want to become untouchable, I don't want to get stressed, let me just give the most rational response possible to this person, whatever it may be, instead of reacting emotionally. Let me ask myself, okay, is this a rational response? Is this something that someone who zoomed out 30,000 feet and looked at the situation and gave the most rational response possible, what would they say? Or ask yourself, if I'm never going to see this situation again and I'm rewinding back and playing this and looking at the situation, what would I tell my partner or my friend or my children to do in this situation? How do I become an outsider to the situation so I give a more rational response? Number 13, speak only when your words are better than silence. This is more for Stoic principle. Before you speak in a meeting, ask, what does this add value or just noise? You don't want to waffle, right? You don't want to be that person that just ends up talking for the sake of talking. And I think sometimes we want to add value, we want to add our input, but we haven't got a structure. So have a structure in place to when you're talking to people. Like, for example, the prep technique. The prep technique is really simple. You give your point, the reason, example, point. So say if you're in a meeting or you're speaking to a family member or whatever it may be, instead of waffling, you get straight to the point by saying, okay, I think we need to invest in an internship program. That's your point, your reason. Because we're losing, we've got a lot of attrition at mid-level and we don't have an influx of new talent coming in. Then your example. Other companies are doing this and they're seeing a lot more, they're retaining their talent a lot more. And then back to the point. Therefore, I think we need to invest in an internship program. So you see there what happened is it's a very clear, concise, a 15-second pitch on your idea. So when I say only speak when you have an idea worth sharing, also make sure that you have a framework around how you convey your ideas. Some people have the STAR method. There's the WWW, which is what can I help with, what's working, what's not working. But yeah, there's a few there. Number 14, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. This is Epictetus. It's a common one. We've heard this before. It's very similar to what I just said. But essentially, most communication problems come from waiting to talk rather than trying to listen, then talking. And I think it is as simple as that. If you're in a conversation and you're waiting to talk, there's a problem. You're not paying attention, and you probably should start paying attention instead. Number 15, first say to yourself Number 15, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. This is by Epictetus. Decide who you are before you communicate. Clarity of identities creates clarity of message. So essentially, how I want to come across before I speak. So I sometimes do this in large meetings or speaker events or in social environments. I ask myself, who do I want to be today? And it gives me an opportunity to focus on the now, because I start thinking, okay, like right now, maybe I'm tired, maybe I'm stressed, maybe I've got lots going on in the back of my mind. Okay, like how can I neutralize that? Okay, let me write down all the things I need to do. Okay, park that. Why am I stressed? Okay, let me take 2 minutes break, breathe. Okay, I'm going to be the person that goes in there and is calm, cool, collective, and that's going to be my foundations. And so say to yourself, this is who I am, and then be that person by acting like that throughout wherever moment it is. You're not going to maintain that, but over time, as you practice, you start to become better at it. You start to become better as the person who is focusing more on X, Y, Z. Number 16, if anyone can refute me, show me I'm making a mistake or looking at things from the wrong perspective, I'll gladly change. This is from Marcus Aurelius again. This is the mindset that makes you safe to challenge and easy to work with. So essentially it's saying like, don't be stubborn. If someone's got a idea and you are finding yourself being really stubborn about the idea, question yourself first. Why? What if? I know I said earlier, what if is the door to the devil, but in this scenario, it's a bit different. Is it my blind spot? Have I really considered everything? Could there be a different angle from this? Could I benefit from this? Is it going to save me time? Is it going to add more time? Is it human shaped? Is it ergonomic? Does it make sense? Is there something I can reverse? Why not ask yourself a bunch of questions first before you refute something? Number 17, begin at once to live and count each separate day as a separate life. This was said by Seneca, and this essentially is about avoiding and stop postponing the difficult conversation. Today is the day you handle it. Why not today? What's so difficult about today that you have to wait till tomorrow, right? And if you have the intention, that's the first starting point. And then the second is taking the step forward. Number 18, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. This is Marcus Aurelius. When someone basically undermines you, respond with competence and professionalism, not retaliation. If you are reacting, or you feel like you're reacting, you need to take a break. Step away, walk away. It needs to be intentional, not reactional. Number 19, it's not what happens to you, but now you react to it that matters. Sorry, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This is said by Epictetus. So if you didn't get that promotion, fine. Your response to this setback defines your trajectory, not the fact that you didn't get it. How you react to a scenario, because it's all in the past now. So instead of panicking or, feeling sorry for yourself, start working on, okay, what is my trajectory next? Because it's never ending. It's not about getting to this promotion and then everything will be good. I promise you, you can become the CEO and it's never enough. You can make $1 million. It's never enough. There's always more. And people feel that they have this illusion that, yeah, once I get there, then it'll be enough. No, today is enough. What if today is your last day? Make it count. Number 20, how long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself? Essentially, this is about being ready now. You are ready now. Even if you're avoiding the gym or avoiding that big presentation, avoiding the conversation about your salary increase, the person you're waiting to become is already within you. You just need to pull it up and say, hey, let's do this. So what this essentially, these sayings are saying is they're not supposed to be motivational quotes to make you feel better. They're supposed to challenge the mechanical truths about how reality works. So your anxiety is a perception problem, not necessarily a reality problem. Your potential is limited by your willingness to act, not your capability. And your communication clarity, this is all about your peace and depends on your internal clarity. Do you have that peace inside to communicate clearly outside? And lastly, your calm is your choice. It's something you control, not the circumstance controls. So no civil wars in here. So think about these if you're ever spiraling. Apply them when you're stuck. Return to them if you can. But hopefully you'll see the essence of this is about you are in control, even if you feel like you're not. Stop yourself, think in the moment, and act. These were very Stoic sentences and phrases and quotes, whatever you want to call them. But they mean a lot if you really do apply them. And I know some of you will listen to this and think, I'm not sure what he meant by this, or this was too airy, like too fluffy. But just sit on it and think. It's not supposed to be something you understand immediately. It's supposed to be, let me sit on this quote and think about it more and more and more. And as the day goes by, you'll start to understand. I'm not expecting you to know all 20. Anyway, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed that, please do like and subscribe. I'll release some more videos like this if I get enough views. And if you have any ideas on what you want to hear next or what you think I should dive into, please leave a comment below. Thank you.